Hello, everyone. Board Game Lawyer here. It is a Monday evening, and I'm looking forward to some Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight Games. And as you can see on the table here, I have my brand new Rogue Hero kit that arrived in the mail finally. Only took 2 weeks. I'm looking at you, Miniature Market. You were a little late getting it to me this time, but okay, I love you guys. But fail on getting it to me timely this time. So it's been a little bit. Most everybody's already seen all the cards in the Rogue set, but I thought I'd just do an unboxing tonight, just a brief unboxing, and then maybe a playthrough. Hopefully, I'll be able to do a playthrough afterwards. So let's crack this box open and let's look at some of these cards. What do you say? All right, so we got our little sticker here that holds our pack together. We've been through this before. There it is. I wonder how much those cost. Okay. Stuck to my finger. All right, let's crack open this box and see what cards are inside. There's our deck, and I'm looking for the rules because I'm sure that there has to be some rules. When I cracked open Gambit, there was nothing really new under the sun in his hero kit rules. But let's see if there's anything on Rogue. Let's first look at the artwork. Beautiful. I heard that some people were confused between Rogue and Phoenix because she's got the same kind of hand gesture. Some people ordered the wrong hero kit when they went to get their pack because they look so similar. So yeah, here we go, Rogue. Let's look at the backside. Of course, they have a little bit of lore up here at the top. The keyword stalwart, we're familiar with that. How about team up? That's kind of a newer one. I'll read that one. It says the team up keyword names two characters. To include a card with the team up keyword in your deck, you must choose the chosen your chosen identity must match one of the named characters. Additionally, a card with team up cannot be played unless both the named characters' identities are in play. So the team up keyword, then there's another new keyword, team up, and it's a trait. I think that's the one I was wanting to look at. It says after a minion with teamwork enters play, this is minions with teamwork enters play, engages a player if there's at least one other minion that shares the specified trait in play. Each minion that shares a teamwork keyword with the same specified trait activates against the player it's engaged with. Okay, did we catch that? I want to keep these rules handy because that's probably going to pop up here tonight. Also, there's the villainous keyword, and here's a rules clarification. What does it mean to find touched? When you are instructed to find a card, search each game area where that card could be found. Play area, set-aside area, player deck, discard pile, encounter deck, etc. Okay, so that's what it means to find touched. And then the frequently asked question 2, if I take control of a minion with Karma's ability, what happens to any attachments on that minion? When you take control of a minion with Karma's ability, any attachments on that minion remain attached. However, because that minion loses the minion card type and gains the ally card type, the abilities on those attachments that affect the attached minion no longer apply. So, there must be some complex interactions that are going to take place in order to include Q and A. So, I will keep the rules handy here as we begin our playthrough tonight. So, here's my pack. It comes in this nice, clear cellophane plastic that is sometimes easy, sometimes hard to remove. I'm going to remove it off screen just for the sake of safety. All right. Listen to the paper get removed from the plastic. All right. Just about there. There it is. Unclothed. Plastic in the recycling bin. Next, let's take a look at our cards, shall we? So here it is, Rogue. After all this time, Rogue, you're finally here. She has, as her hero form, a thwart of 2. She has an attack of 2. She has defense of 2. Nice rounded out stats there. And she has an ability which is skin contact, action, attach touched to another character. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. Limit once per round. Forced response after the player phase begins. Find touched and set it aside. So it must be a card. Yep, it's his. It's her next card that we'll take a look at. So we'll keep in mind these rules here. Untouched. Then we have Anna Marie, who is in her alter ego form, a mutant who has 3 recovery. Setup. Set your touched upgrade aside. So it's part of the setup. Withdrawn. Forced response. After you change to this form, set touched aside. Okay, so when you set it up, you set it aside. When you flip to this side, you set that touch card aside. Let's get some sleeves, shall we? Hate to put too many fingerprints on the cards before I get the sleeve out. All right, there we go. Here's a double-sided Dragon Shield clear plastic sleeve that I use for all of my heroes, and some other double-sided cards. So there she is, Rogue Anna Marie. We'll set her aside. Let's take a look at her hero kit. She has 16 cards in her hero kit according to our numbering system down here, and this is number 1, Touched, which is an upgrade, and it's a condition. It says if touched is attached to a minion, Rogue's attacks gain overkill. If it's attached to a villain, Rogue gains retaliate. If it's attached to an ally, Rogue gains the aerial trait, and if it's attached to a hero, Rogue gains stalwart. So she could touch herself. All right, or another hero. Good. So is this double-sided? Nope, it's one-sided. So the cards that I use for my hero cards are the Night Blue Matte Dragon Shield cards. I have a brand new box here with 100 sleeves in it. All right, and we'll go ahead and put Touched inside of its sleeve, and we'll set it off to here for now. Next, we have her signature ally, who is Gambit. He has a thwart of 2, an attack of 2, and there is a star next to his attack, which reads, interrupt when Gambit attacks, remove 1 charge counter from him, deal 1 damage to an enemy. So how does Gambit get charge counters? Right here at the top of the card. Gambit enters play with 3 charge counters on him, and he has 3 hit points. I'm just going to get some sleeves handy here so that we can kind of sleeve as we go. Next we have an upgrade for Rogue. Rogue's jacket, while touched, is attached to friendly character. Rogue gets +1 thwart. While touch is attached to an enemy character, Rogue gets +1 attack. All right, so that's kind of her signature upgrade. Her noun card, her jacket, which is apparently got special powers. Next, we have Going Rogue, which is an event. And it looks like we have 3 copies of these, so I'll just look at the first one. It says Hero Action, Thwart. This is a thwart action. Cost 2. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. If Rogue has Aerial, remove 2 additional threat. If she has Retaliate, confuse an enemy. And if she's Stalwart, draw 1 card. So look at that. That's that has to do with her gaining these different abilities because of that touched ability. So we got Going Rogue, 3 of those. Get those babies sleeved up. 2, 3. This is one we'll no doubt see several times throughout the game. So that's her thwart ability. This one here looks like it's an attack ability. Hero action attack deals 6 damage to an enemy. All right, costs 3 to do that. If Rogue has Aerial, this attack gains 2 additional damage. So again, there's these conditions here. She's Aerial. If she has Retaliate, if she has Stalwart, draw card, stun the enemy. Similar to the other, just the reverse because it's attack abilities. So instead of confusing, we're going to be stunning. Yada, yada, yada. All right, so here we go. Southern Cross, 3 copies of those. That's quite a bit of our hero deck is invested in these event cards. We have another event card. It's called Energy Transfer. How many of those do we have? We got 2 of those. And it is a superpower which has a hero action attach touched to a character, and then other than Rogue, and deal 2 damage to that character, heal 2 damage from Rogue, and ready her. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. That is the energy transfer. See, snatching abilities, healing, damaging. Yeah, 2 damage to a character. It is not an attack action. So that's good to keep in mind. We have Bulletproof Bell. How many of those we have? We have 2 of those. It's another event. It's a defense superpower. Hero Interrupt defense. When an enemy with touch attached to it attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and gain a tough status card. Wow, that only costs 1. So a little bit more affordable event than some of the other ones that we've seen. And this next event, as I'm looking at it, costs 0. Superpower adaptation. Hero action if touch is attached to a friendly character. Search its owner's discard pile for an event that belongs to the same classification as the character, identity-specific aspect, or basic. Add that event to your hand. So that's any card, right? If touched is attached to a friendly character, search its owner's discard pile for an event. Has to be an event that belongs to the same classification as that character. Same classification as that character. Identity specific, aspect, or basic. Add that event to your hand. All right. And there's 3 of these in here. Classification. Okay. Get some rules here for a second. Okay, so now we have reached the aspect cards. Yep, there's 16 cards total there. Yep, 16 cards total. And now we will, let's adjust the light here just a little bit, take some of the reflection off. Sorry if that was kind of bright and it was hard to read. We have Iceman, long-awaited Iceman. One of the original X-Men characters. He enters plays with 3 freeze counters on him. Response after a minion enters play, remove 1 freeze counter from Iceman. Stun that minion. I love it. I really like that. That is a good use of Iceman. He costs 3 though, but he does have an attack of 2, and he has 3 hit points on him. Okay, so we can stun folks. We have Karma, who is an ally with 0 thwart, 0 attack. So what's her shtick? And only 1 health. Response: after you play Karma from your hand, choose a non-elite minion. While Karma is in play, take control of that minion and treat it as a controlled ally with a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its printed scheme, and it takes 2 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. Okay. Karma can steal your guys, your enemies. Armor, an ally, 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health. Play only if your identity has the X-Men trait, and she comes into play with toughness. All right. So we have, looks like in the hero kit and in the aspect for the precon, there's going to be only 4 allies, which could be a challenge. Next, we have Unflappable. We've seen that before. Different artwork. Play under any player's control. Max 1 per player. After you defend against an attack and take no damage, exhaust Unflappable and draw a card. There's probably 3 of these. Yep, I was right. There's 3 copies of Unflappable in here. Again, if you played Marvel Champions at any time in the past, Unflappable is a card that we are familiar with. It's a way to generate extra card draw if you can avoid being damaged below your threshold, which that's a good question. How much does Anna Marie start with? She starts with 11 hit points. So if she has Unflappable, take no damage. Those didn't have anything to do with her threat or her damage threshold. So after you defend against an attack and take no damage, you draw a card. So it doesn't matter how much health she has left. There's other cards that do, not Unflappable. Judoka Skill is an upgrade. It costs 2. Uses 2 judo counters, max 1 per player. When you defend against an enemy attack Remove one judo counter from here. That enemy attack gets -2 for that attack. All right, so it's a way to bump up some defense. That could probably work in harmony with the unflappable upgrade. It comes into play with 3 counters on it, and there's 3 copies of the judo skill. Next, we have Preemptive Strike, another familiar card to many Marvel Champions lovers. It was in previous hero kits. It is a defense card. When a boost card is turned face up while the villain attacks, cancel all boost icons on that card, then deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon canceled this way. So there we are, Preemptive Strike. And we, of course, are going to have 3 copies of that. Not today. Boy, I heard that a lot when I was a kid, especially when I went to ask Mom for a toy. Not today was the answer. Event 1, defense, hero interrupt, defense. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets +2 defense for that attack. If you take no damage from that attack, remove 2 threat from a scheme. Not today. Not today, son. Sorry. But when? Not today. Good enough. All right, then we're to the defensive energy, -2 per deck. Hero interrupt. When you would spend this card, play a defense event, draw 1 card. So it's a card that can replace itself, and it has a wild resource on it. -2 per deck. So we get a full kit of those to put in her precon. Then we have, oh, here we go, another ally, Moria McTaggart. Let's see how she reads. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait. Alter ego form. Response, after a mutant alter ego changes into hero form, exhausts Moria McTaggart, that hero's controller draws 1 card. All right, I like Moria McTaggart. It's Professor X's girlfriend, right? So she's helpful. Next, we have the X Gene. We have, these are upgrades, 3 of them. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait, -1 per player. So you play this in alter ego form if you're playing with Anna Marie. Resource, generate X Gene, generate a mental resource or a wild resource for an identity-specific event. Okay, so a way to make events cheaper, putting the X Gene out on the table. Is there any limit to how many you can have? Play only if your identity has the mutant trait, -1 per player. -1 per player, yep. So you can only have 1 on the table. That's kind of what we're used to on some situations like this where you get such a powerful effect. And 1 more. 3 of those. And then we have Beauty and the Thief, which is a team-up, -1 per deck, hero action, attack thwart, deal 4 damage to an enemy, remove 4 threat from a scheme, and you do that for 2. We saw this one in Gambit's kit, and that's a powerful card. I like it. For only 2, you can do 4 damage and remove 4 threat. I like that one. And of course, we have our double resource cards. We have Energy, Familiar, Genius, no introduction. Strength is there. Okay, and then is there no? Yeah, I think we reached the stop portion right down here. So here now we're going to get into the encounter cards / objective. And I'll need to put different sleeves on those for sure, so we can tell the difference. So those were the hero sleeves, Night Blue Matte. Getting harder to come by, unfortunately. The whole collection has got those on it, so hopefully they'll continue to be found for quite some time, but right now we've just been having a shortage of them. So Deadly Touch is our obligation that'll get shuffled into our encounter deck tonight. Give to the Anna Marie player. If touch is attached to a friendly character, deal 2 damage to that character and discard this card. If touch is not attached to a friendly character, place 2 threat on the main scheme and discard this card. So this obligation is one that will not go away. It'll keep getting discarded. There's no way to remove it. So you give it to the Anna Marie player. She puts it on the table. Touch is attached or not attached. Terrible things happen. So that's deadly touch. We'll set that here. And oh look, Mystique. This was a card that was spoiled by those fine fellas over at Critical Encounters. Mystique. And I must say, they did a bang-up job with that reveal. I'm really proud of them for all that they said about Mystique. So let's take a look at her. She's a minion, scheme of 1, attack of 1. She has 6 health, Brotherhood of Mutants, and she's elite. She has toughness. She has villainous. She has a force response. After Mystique engages you, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for a copy of the Misled Treachery and shuffle it into your deck. So that was the missing piece when those fellows spoiled Mystique. We weren't sure what the Misled Treachery was, but I'm sure there it is. It's right there in her Nemesis set, Rogue's Nemesis set. So we also have, here is the side scheme. It says, when defeated, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Misled Treachery and shuffle it into your deck. So it's, again, that's that shtick of shuffling things into a place where it doesn't normally get shuffled, an encounter card into your deck. So that's Mystique's Manipulations. Let's look at that Misled, and she's got 3 of them. What's the big deal with this card? Shapeshifter. When revealed, shuffle this card into your deck. This card gains Surge. Force Response. After this card enters your hand, place 2 threat on the main scheme. You may discard this card from your hand at the end of the player phase like any other card. Discard. So when you discard an obligation or a treachery card like this, which is an encounter card, when you discard these cards, from what I understand, you'll discard this into the encounter discard pile. So that's where the things kind of go back home after they're used. So, but we do have 3 copies of this Misled. So likely, if Mystique decides to rear her ugly head, pretty head, depending upon what form she takes, then we'll see Misled. Now it tells us to stop. I'm going to stop sleeving cards so that we can get underway. We're already 23 minutes into this video and we've yet to draw a card. So we're going to stop, but we will look and see that there is the Med Lab, which is a support, max 1 per player. After an ally is defeated by consequential damage, exhaust Med Lab to place it here. Limit once per ally at a time. Alter Ego action, exhaust Med Lab, play the ally here. If it was in your hand, it enters play exhausted. That is my... Sorry. I'm going to mute my phone. I just gave away my ringtone. There we go. Stop. Med Lab. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, we got Reavers. Forgot all about those guys. So that's all we get. Additional cards that you can include in your deck if you're playing leadership. So that's all there is. Set those off to the side for now. Then we have a modular set that will shuffle into our deck tonight. Some brand new several minions. Let's take a look at these. And let's break out the sleeves again, because I think we're going to play with those too. That's exciting. All right, so Reavers, we have Donald Pierce. Oh, I recognize Donald Pierce. Isn't he one of the... let's see. The Hellfire Club? Wasn't Donald Pierce one of that? So if he's one of the Hellfire Club, just give me a thumbs up in the comments down below. Anyway, he has Teamwork, which is that minion text we read earlier. He's a Reaver. He's villainous. Force response after Donald Pierce engages you. Reveal the topmost Reaver minion from the discard box. Ooh. So yeah, he's like the leader of the Reavers. Okay. Now we have Skullbuster. We have one of him. He's a Reaver. Teamwork, toughness, force response. After Skullbuster engages you, place one threat on the main scheme for each Reaver minion engagement. These guys, I could tell already. This is not going to be. This is not going to be easy. We got Bone Breaker. Sounds terrible. Another teamwork, Reaver, toughness, force response. Tell you what, I'll leave it up to you to search this text on these cards. I'm just going to shuffle them into my deck, and as they come out, we'll read them and see if we can't learn how they're played. So we got Wade Cole. That's another Reaver. I'll just pause briefly if you want to hit pause and read the text. There you go. Murray Reese is another Reaver. We also have some side schemes, the Reavers. Additional ways to draw and counter cards. Never like that. And cybernetic enhancements. Looks like there's a couple different ones attached to a minion. Yada yada. Well, when these pop out, we'll read them. We'll see what happens then. We'll just keep it a surprise. If you want to pause and read it, go right ahead. Okay. And there we are. Okay. So, set my sleeves over there. Dragon shields. More dragon shields. You never have enough dragon shields unless you don't have enough money left. Those are a little pricey. So there we go. Here is our modular set that we'll include in whichever villain we decide to play tonight. And I think that to start out a brand new game with a brand new character, we'll pick somebody from the core set. And I don't want to do Rhino, so let's do Klaw. We'll do a standard game of Klaw tonight. We'll put Klaw out. And he has things that happen when he comes into play. Things that come into play with the main scheme. We've got our standard set here that we're going to shuffle in, and we're going to shuffle in the Reavers. And we'll also need to shuffle in that Deadly Touch. We'll keep that aside for now because the obligation doesn't get shuffled in until after you discard cards or whatever it is that you need to do for the main scheme. So we'll just kind of hang on to the obligation for now until we get to that point of setup where the obligation actually gets shuffled in, and we'll try our best to get a good shuffle on this encounter deck area. It was not mixed up at all prior to me sitting down at the table tonight after getting home from work, taking a shower, and throwing down a little food. Quickly digging cards out of my collection to build a deck. All right. Good enough. Encounter deck. All right. So we have Anna Marie. We'll put her on the table. We're going to put her Nemesis set off to the side for now. We'll put it over there where we normally do. Maybe we'll see Mystique. Maybe we won't. And then I need to shuffle the hero cards in with the aspect cards to make up our hero deck. There is that. Let's see. So we got setup. Set your touched upgrade aside. I'm looking forward to a new rules reference that maybe kind of helps us to clean up the setup stage for the game. Because we got a few things like Wolverine's claws, and we've got things with vision. We've got some questions. And typically, whenever there's questions like that, I try to go with the worst possible answer. So I'm the guy that starts with not having an extra card for vision. I'm the guy that starts with Wolverine claws in the deck, since that's where it says to go get it from, or discard. I just like to have a little bit of a cleanup there on setup for the game, because since the last rules reference, there's been a lot of cards that have come out, a lot of actions, a lot of interactions that aren't as clearly defined anymore. And there's questions. And we want to play the game according to the rules, right? At least I do. And there's a lot of rules now. like any game, it starts off with like just a few pages, and by the time you get like 15 or 20 expansions in, now you've got an entire like encyclopedia of rules that you have to do. And to give a little bit of credit to Marvel Champions is they haven't really gone crazy like adding a lot of different card types and whatnot. So I appreciate that. And they haven't gone nuts adding a bunch of extra aspect cards, and so I appreciate that as well. We got a lot of design space within what we have, and I think they're doing a great job. It's just, let's get that rules reference printed. Let's get that in the hands of the players and the hands of the content creators so we can all kind of get on the same page with everything. Have everything in one nice clean spot. You don't have to go hunting through emails and posts on different formats to figure out the rules of the game. So that's all I ask. That's the one request I have, is that we get just a cleaned up rule book that incorporates all the aspects of things that have been asked and touched upon already. So let's take a look at Klaw. He is the baddie bad tonight. So we're going to play with standard Klaw 1. And he has a scheme of 2, and he has an attack of 0. But there's that little star next to his attack. It says, forced interrupt when Klaw attacks. Give him 1 additional boost card for this activation. And you know what? I did not look at that Reaver set to see if it's just jam-packed full of boost icons or not. I guess we'll find out as we go. And we may find out in a terrible way. So how many hit points does Klaw have? He has 12 hit points to start the game. Go grab a dial for each. Crayon box for my dials. And we'll set that at 12. There we go. Put that right up here. There you go, Klaw. Next, he has the Underground Distribution 1A. It tells us what our contents are, so of course I've got the standard encounter set in here, and we included the Reaver's modular set. So setup says search the encounter deck for the Defense Network side scheme and reveal it and shuffle the encounter deck. Well, we did shuffle the encounter deck quite a bit, I hope. Here's the Defense Network. I pulled it out in anticipation for that. It says when revealed, place an additional 1 threat here per player. Let me get my tokens handy. All right. So Defense Network starts with 3 threat on it. The Underground Distribution is now done. Side 1B starts with 0 threat. It schemes out at 6, and it says, when revealed, discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. Put that minion into play, engage with the first play. Now, why did I pick Klaw? With all those Reaver folks, that could be not so good. All right. Let's go find her a minion. That's why we left the obligation off to the side, because we're going to add that after we find that minion. So we're going to draw cards. So the first one is Gang Up, Caught Off Guard, Armored Guard. Okay, so no Reavers. We do have an Armored Guard that comes out into play, who is a guard, and it says while this minion is engaged with you, you cannot attack the villain, and he comes into play with a Toughness card on him. So let's get tough. Let's get tough on our Armored Guard. Now we'll shuffle the Deadly Touch into the encounter deck. Anna Marie says, set your touched upgrade aside. Hopefully we don't draw that into our hand as part of our opening hand. Like again, I said I just shuffled it into my deck. Maybe I shouldn't. In fact, I won't. I don't want to aggravate you folks. Last thing I want to do is have you screaming at me like, don't do that. All right, so let's go find that, and we'll kind of see. There's touched. We'll just set it off to the side for now. No sense making it harder than it needs to be. shuffling. Okay. I'm just going to set it aside. It'll be back. All right, and she comes into play with 11 hit points on her, and she draws up a hand size of 6. So we're going to draw Defensive Energy. When you spend this card to play a defense event, draw 1 card. We have Southern Cross, deal 6 damage to an enemy. If Rogue has Aerial, Retaliate, Stalwart. We have Iceman. Iceman enters play with 3 freeze counters on him. We also draw Not Today, another defense card. We draw Preemptive Strike, and we draw Bulletproof Bell. So those are our 6 cards that we draw to start the game. Defensive Energy, probably not. Southern Cross, maybe not. Iceman, possibly. Not Today, no. Preemptive Strike, no. Bulletproof Bell, no. We'll discard those 4 cards. And so do we keep Iceman? And do we keep Southern Cross? I won't be able to most likely play them both. So, and I've got very few allies in my deck, and I think I've got 3 Southern Crosses. So let's hang on to Iceman. That's my decision. We're going to hang on to Iceman and draw 3 more cards, or 5 more cards. So defense, Judo skill. When you defend, remove 1 Judo counter. You get -1 attack for that attack. Karma. After you play Karma from your hand, choose a non-elite minion. Ooh. While Karma is in play, take control of that minion. Treat its controlled ally as a blank text box. Hey, maybe we'll get some Karma going. Then we have Not Today and Armor. So Not Today is an event. When your hero defends against an attack, nope, that's not going to do me any good. So I do think I'm going to play that Karma card. Karma card. So it's an ally. It costs 4. After you play Karma from your hand, choose a non-elite minion. While Karma is in play, take control of that minion. Treat as a controlled ally with a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its printed scheme, and it takes 2 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. I love it. And then we have the setup. Set your touched upgrade aside. Yeah. So if I flip to my hero side, I'll be able to go find that touched card. I'm going to set it off to the side for now, but I think I will bring Karma out into play. And so we'll hang on to Iceman. We'll spend those 4 resources. Bang, 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 bang. And it's not an elite minion. So we'll put Karma on the table. We'll hang on to the Iceman. So she's going to take control of this armored guard. He's still tough because he has a tough card on him. Even though he's blanked, he's no longer a guard. And so his attack is 1. And his thwart would be 0. So we could use the armored guard's tough ability to basically block an attack from Klaw, right? Because now he belongs to us? That is cool. All right. So we'll flip Anna Marie. And now she says that as an action, I can attach the touched to another character. You gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. So if I were to attach her to the villain, I would gain Retaliate. If I attach it to an ally, I would be Aerial, and if I attach it to the hero, then it will gain Stalwart. So I think I'm going to attach it to myself for now. And then it says, after the player phase begins, find touched and set it aside. So we'll set that aside when the player phase begins, and then we can use it to put it on somebody else. So right now she's just going to I assume she can put it on herself. Well, if she puts it on an ally, she gets the aerial trait. I don't know that the aerial... I didn't see anything in the cards that have anything to do with aerial. I could be wrong. Okay, so then she's going to attack. Yeah, she'll attack for 2 onto Klaw and knock him down to 10. We won't do anything with Karma. We're just going to leave her out there. And then the Armored Guard, we'll leave him out there and play with that tough card on him. And we'll draw 5 cards to end our turn for Rogue. So she draws the Energy Transfer. Also another Energy Transfer. The Genius card. A Preemptive Strike. And the Southern Cross. Ooh, I like it. Okay, so Klaw is going to place 1 threat on the underground distribution. And then Klaw is going to attack Rogue. Armored Guard is going to jump out in front. And he draws 2 cards. So he draws a 2, which is Cybernetic Enhancements. And he draws the other Cybernetic Enhancements. I did shuffle that deck considerably. So both of the Cybernetic Enhancements pop out. That's going to knock that tough card off of the Armored Guard. All right, then we draw our encounter card for Klaw, and it is the Shadow of the Past. When revealed, reveal your set-aside Nemesis minion and put it in play, engage with you and the side scheme, and shuffle the rest of the cards into the encounter deck. That's what Shadow of the Past does. Very first encounter card that I draw this game. Very fitting, right? Yep. Oh, and by the way, when I drew those cards, I discarded Iceman. I did. I discarded him at the end of the turn. So here comes Mystique. She comes out into play. She has toughness and villainous. She's also elite, so Karma can't do much to her. So she comes into play with a tough card on her. And she has a force response. After Mystique engages you, search the encounter deck discard pile and set aside area for a copy of the Misled Treachery. Shuffle it into your deck. So that was that Misled was in the set aside area. And we're going to shuffle that into our deck. Without dropping our deck on the floor. Which I didn't. It came close. All right. Hello, Mystique. It's like karma that I got Mystique. And some of you may know why. All right, so Mystique's manipulations. While Mystique, let's see, when defeated, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Misled Treachery and shuffle it into your deck. So Misled is happening, and then it's got an acceleration icon on it. So there's Mystique's manipulation, comes into play with 2 threat on it. Boom, boom. And the rest of these treachery cards will get shuffled into the encounter deck. Okay. All right. That's going to end Klaw's turn. Now we got Mystique to deal with. So we've got that Southern Cross, which says deal 6 damage to an enemy. If Rogue has Aerial, Retaliate, and Stalwart, draw a card. So I'm just looking at my cards in my hand to see what options I have. And I do think, though, that I do have to pay attention to that force response. After the player phase begins, find touched and set it aside. So here's touched, set it aside. And does she continue to control him? While Karma is in play, take control of that minion. Okay, so we're still going to keep control of that Armored Guard. So now if we put touched on Mystique, Rogue's attacks gain overkill. If she has the aerial trait, let me see, was there a card that dealt with aerial trait? I think it did. Yeah, this attack deals 2 additional damage. So how about that? We're going to put touched on Mystique. Rogue is going to attack Mystique and knock that tough card off. She's going to punch her with the Southern Cross, deal 6 damage to an enemy. If Rogue has aerial, the attack deals 2 additional damage. Stun the enemy. She has retaliate and stalwart, so let's look again to see if she's the villain. She has stun that enemy, stalwart, draw a card. So maybe I want to put that on, since it's going to do 6 damage and she's at 6 health. Maybe instead I put the touched card onto Rogue, because now she's stalwart and I can draw a card. I think that's a better idea. So we'll put the touched card onto Rogue. Deal 6 damage to an enemy. So we need to spend 3 resources to do that. So how about we spend preemptive strike, and we'll spend an energy transfer. No, we're going to have to do genius. Yeah, we'll do that to do the Southern Cross. So she deals 6 damage to Mystique. So Mystique is knocked out. And then we draw a card. And the card that we draw is Rogue's Jacket. While touched is attached to a friendly character, Rogue gets +1 thwart. While touched is attached to an enemy, Rogue gets +1 attack. Okay. And then we have the energy transfer. Attached, touched to a character other than Rogue, and deal 2 damage to that character. Heal 2 damage from Rogue and ready her. You can gain each of the attached character's traits until the end of the round. So this is my opportunity to attach it to a villain if I use the energy transfer, which I think I will. Attach touch to a character other than Rogue and deal 2 damage to that character. Heal 2 damage from Rogue and ready her. So we'll ready Rogue by placing touched onto Klaw. We're going to do 2 damage to Klaw using that energy transfer card. Down to 8. And then Rogue can thwart 2 off of Mystique's manipulations. And what that'll do is, when defeated, search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Misled Treachery and shuffle it into your deck. All right. We got to find some more Misleds. So I just shuffled those guys in. We got to put another one in my deck. Here's one. Shuffle the encounter deck. Like it? Don't like it? All right, so whenever those get revealed, I'll have to read their text. Sounds like it's a way to shrink my hand too, so I really don't prefer that at all. Getting my hand shrunk. So I'll give this a blind shuffle, looking to the side, so I don't see where those encounter cards got placed. And that is going to end Rogue's turn. We'll ready everything up. And then we'll draw cards. So the first one we draw is when revealed, shuffle this card into your deck. This card gains Surge. A force response. So when revealed, shuffle this card. So it's revealed from the encounter deck. And this force response says, after this card enters your hand, place 2 threat on the main scheme. You may discard this card from your hand at the end of the player phase like any other card. So it's not revealed because it's drawn into my hand. So it's a force response, which adds 2 threat onto the main scheme. And then it's just gums up my hand. Ugh. I don't like that. One. And there's another one. Ooh. After this card enters your hand, place 2 threat on the main scheme. So now it's up to 5. You know what's going to happen next. We got the underground distribution. It's getting ready to go off. And I have 2 misled cards in my hand. I draw 4 more. I draw X-Gene. I draw Moria. Superpower Adaptation. And Dakota Skill. So those are my... Oh, no, that's too many cards. Dakota Skill was the last one. Put that back. Sorry. I'm in hero form. I only get to draw 5 cards. So 3 cards that are my hero cards or aspect cards, and 2 which are terrible treachery cards. Ugh. So that ends everything. And now it's Klaw's turn. So he places that 1 threat on the underground distribution, which is going to cause it to be finished. We've threaded out at 6, so the underground distribution gets set aside. I'll remove all this threat over here. Okay. Now we've made it to the secret rendezvous. It says, when revealed, discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. Put that minion into play, engage with the first player, and advance to stage 2B. Okay. So we discard Sound Manipulation. We discard Sonic Boom. And the Illegal Arms Factory, as well as the Advance card, the Assault card, Sound Manipulation, and there's Wade Cole. Wade Cole comes into play. So this says discard cards from the encounter deck until a minion is discarded. Put that minion into play. Engage with the first player. So it's not revealed. So if there is a revealed ability on there, it won't go off. Let's take a look at Wade Cole. He has a scheme of 1, an attack of 2. He has teamwork. Who's a Reaver. When revealed, we don't deal with it, but it says search the encounter deck and discard pile for a copy of the Cybernetic Enhancements attachment and shuffle it to Wade Cole. So he's just simply put into play. So he doesn't get the attachments that he hoped to have. We'll flip over to side 2B, and it says, if this stage is completed, the players lose the game. It begins with 0 threat on it, but now things are about to happen. So, let's see. Klaw is going to attack Rogue. He draws 2 cards for that, right? Yep. Draws 2 cards, and Rogue has Retaliate. So I can either absorb it with Rogue and then absorb the damage onto Armored Guard from Wade Cole. She will gain Retaliate since that touched card is on Klaw. Let's do it. Rogue is going to get attacked. Let's see if there's any defensive cards. Okay. Nothing to defend with. So he's just going to attack her. She's got 11 health. He's going to draw 2 cards. The first one is Klaw's Vengeance, and the second one is Solid Sound Body. So 4 damage into Rogue. 1, 2, 3, 4. Takes her down to 7. And then she has retaliate, so we're going to do 1 damage to Klaw. So that'll knock him down to 7. Wade Cole is going to attack. The armored guard is going to jump out in front of that attack. So it does 2 damage to the armored guard. And then we draw an encounter card. So the encounter card is Donald Pierce. Teamwork, villainous, force response. After Donald Pierce engages you, reveal the topmost Reaver minion from the discard pile. So teamwork is first, and we have teamwork on the table. Now let me look at that rule because that's one that I'm not as familiar with. So villainous, let's see. New keyword, villainous. Or no, new keyword, teamwork. It's a trait. So there's team up and teamwork. Okay, so we're looking at teamwork, which is after a minion with teamwork enters play, engages a player. If there's at least one other minion that shares that specified trait in play, each minion that shares a teamwork keyword with the same specified trait activates against the player with its engaged trait. Yuck. So let me see if there's a top. Okay, so let's just finish off the teamwork first. So Wade Cole is going to attack for 2. So we're going to put those 2 damage onto Rogue like that. And then Donald Pierce has villainous. So Karma is going to jump out in front of... Oh, but if I do that, then we may have to send the armored guard back. Let me see what her text says. Its thwart is equal to its printed. It takes 2 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. While Karma is in play, take control of that minion. Treat it as a controlled ally with a blank text box. Its thwart is equal to its printed scheme, and it takes 2 consequential damage after it thwarts or attacks. So if she's lost from the table, will that turn back into a minion again? Let me see if there's a rule on that. I think there was, maybe. Rules clarification. Okay, if I take control of minion with Karma's ability, what happens to any attachments on that minion? So it's just an attachment. We take control, remain attached. No longer apply. So he's changed. He's no longer a minion anymore. He's an ally now. But it says, while Karma is in play, take control of that minion and treat its controlled ally with a blank text box. So if I lose her, I'll no longer control the armored guard anymore, right? Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That sounds terrible. So we'll block with Rogue. And Donald Pierce is going to draw a boost, which is 2. So he does 3 damage minus 2. So 1 more damage onto Rogue. Those Reavers are tough. Now we'll end Klaw's turn, because that was our encounter card, Donald Pierce. And there's no surge or anything on it. So at the beginning of her turn, she's going to put this touched card out of play. Let's see what we got in our deck here. We got Moira McTaggart. After I'm not sure what happened there. Moira McTaggart. Play only if your identity has the mutant trait, so I'd have to flip to get the mutant trait. Right? After a mutant alter ego changes to hero form, exhausts Moira McTaggart, that hero's controller draws a card. Or we could play Superpower Adaptation. If touched is attached to a friendly character, search its owner discard pile for an event that belongs to the same classification as that character, identity, specific, basic, and add it to your hand. There are no resources on Misled. So if I were to go find an event, it would have to be one that costs 2 And I don't know if there's anything that we can use to take out anybody. The big punchy card costs 3, and I don't have a way to reduce the cost of that, I don't believe. So the X gene is one other option. Play if your identity has the mutant trait, max 1 per player, exhaust X gene, generate a wild resource for identity specific event. I think what we'll do is we're going to flip down. Yeah, that may be bad. A bad idea. Set your touched upgrade aside. Yeah. And we'll spend that superpower adaptation to put out the X gene and an identity specific event is what it will handle. So we're going to discard both of those. This is going to be the end of my turn. Very lackluster turn. Misled. Both of those cards go to the encounter deck. Moria McTaggart. I'll hang on to her, and we'll draw up our hand size of 6. So we have Moria, we have Judo, we have Strength, and Going Rogue. We have another X gene, and another Going Rogue card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Touched is off to the side. We'll ready the Armored Guard. Ready Anna Marie. Karma, X gene. And I got to keep in mind, too, that Donald Pierce is also villainous. So this is an opportunity for Klaw to finish me off if that's his desire. So we place 1 threat on the main schemes. Klaw is going to scheme for 2 plus low card 0. So he places 2 threat on there. 1, 2. And then Wade Cole, of course, he puts 1. He schemes for 1. And Donald Pierce schemes for 1 plus 3 is 4. Oh, the Reavers got me. When defeated, the player who defeated the scheme discards cards from the encounter deck until a Reaver minion is... Yeah, I like this Reavers modular set. You know what? I'm going to root for it. It seems like it's really a powerful modular set, more than I even realized. And then it's got 3 boost icons there, which is what's going to kill me because Donald Pierce has Villainous and we scheme out. I didn't know what else to do. I mean, if I would have taken a lot of damage here, I would have. I suppose I could have blocked with the Armored Guard, blocked with Rogue, blocked with Karma, but then I didn't have much to do. Really, let's see what my hand would have looked like. So 5 cards. If I would have discarded Moria McTaggart, for example, all she has is remove threat. And then X gene, I wouldn't have been able to put the X gene out because it's a mutant ability, so that card wouldn't even been on the table. So, I mean, I feel like I made the best decisions I probably could have in that situation. It just cost me the game because of drawing that 3 boost on the Donald Pierce. The Donald Pierce does me in. And I really think there's nothing else I can do. Let me just make sure that I'm not missing something because I've done this before. I've thought the game was over and it wasn't, and that was embarrassing. So is it over? Add 4. So 3 plus 1. And this defense network never did get removed. We only knocked Klaw partially down. So Klaw had a good game. And I got a little bit of a taste of Rogue. I think that there's a lot of potential with this hero. I think you could do some really cool stuff. I was talking to someone on Discord today about tribal decks and so forth. That Scott L. was talking to him today about the tribal decks that she could build, androids and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to exploring that design space with building a deck. And yeah, I look forward to playing some more Rogue in the future. So thanks for watching my playthrough video today, my unboxing and playthrough. It looks like we're just over an hour, so that's reasonable. We still got time for more playing tonight, but I'm going to end this video for now. Thanks for watching this playthrough video and this unboxing of Rogue, the latest and greatest. I don't know if it's the greatest or not, but we'll find out. Hero kit from Marvel Champions. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good evening.